Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. It is one of the fundamental parts of any relationship. Doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, whether it's connected to business, whether it's friends, whether it's a partnership, romantic relationship, marriage. It's trust. You got to have trust, or you have very little in a relationship. We're going to pick up from where we left off last time, talking about trust and how to make it stronger, how to get it back when the trust is breached because of a situation and all that. It's amazing. I'm amazed that we can still talk about trust because it's such a big thing. She is somebody that helps people with this all the time as a coach and counselor, working with couples, individuals. Practice is called Beautifully Broken. You're even more broken when there's a trust issue. And here she is, Dawn Manderfeld, joins us on the program. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So
Good.
why don't we recap some of the things we talked about last time we got together in terms of trust?
Um, I think some of the main issues that we talked about was in a relationship, um, if they do something to totally destroy your trust in them, is it easy to get it back? Are you able to get it back? And it is possible to get trust back in a relationship, but like you always say, it takes a team, and you both have to be willing to work on it. Another issue I think that
Mm,
you have to do with relationships is it a marital relationship? Is it a business relationship? Is it a friendship? Because all those trust issues are going to be at different levels in each and every single one of them.
mm.
And it also depends on what they lost their trust in. Was it infidelity, like we shared a little bit on? Or were they, let's just say, looking at the wrong stuff? Were
Yep.
they uh, not being honest about the finances? There's so many different ways to go on trust in a relationship. It's pretty crazy. But and then with friends, like we said, we borrowed some friends' money. You were able to get that money back. My friends, unfortunately, have totally disappeared.
Mm,
And even when I see them, don't even want to even converse with me. So there's just so many ways that trust can be broken, and it really depends on how you break it down.
mm. When these situations come up, do you feel that we lose our faith in trust um, more and more when you're done wrong? Like, because I feel it. Like that is one
Yes.
of my, I trust everybody or did, and now it's like, okay, it's almost as if the coat of armor comes out, more and more when trust is breached.
That's very true. It does get harder and harder to trust. The sad thing is that it goes into every area of your life at that point. You even have a hard time trusting family, which you know you probably can. You question a lot of things
Mm,
when you've had trust breached a lot. Um, it's really unfortunate because there really is a really sad fact that every time you lose trust, you lose a little bit of part of yourself that you want to give to somebody, whether it's a friendship, family, relationship. And there again, like I always say, it goes back to your mental status. What are you willing to do? What are you capable of doing? And how are you willing to work through getting trust back?
mm. And picking up from your point before that there's so many ways that it can be breached or the perception of it. You could be in a relationship. And I've been in this situation where it's not a, it's a, boyfriend, girlfriend situation. You're there, you support them, they trust you, they feel safe with you, right? And then there's a miscommunication. And it's not that, there's anything that you did. In one situation I was in, it was somebody wanted me to go with them on a medical appointment, kind of an important one, but I've done it before and I'm all good. I had a situation where I couldn't. And if they vocalized more, I need you to go. It was more of like, hey, hang out, we'll spend the day and you come with me on the appointment. Well, I got this stuff to take care of. And we're, not DEFCON 5, but I'm in like 3.5 right now. And it was connected to my health at that time as well. And that was the catalyst to the end because they thought that they couldn't trust me to be there. But then they forget about all the times before that, literally hundreds, where I'm there. And they, and then I realized that it was a situation where now I took some time for me. Now I focused on me. Out of the 96% times it was on the other person, the 4% was on me, and that wasn't good enough. And that was perceived to be, oh, I can't trust you to be there. I can't. Blah, blah, blah. So it can look different in many different ways. But I
Yes.
wasn't, it wasn't a trust thing. You can always trust me. I'm dependable. I'm loyal to a fault. Um, but it communication. When communication goes awry, there's trust issues that can arise, catapulted from that situation, right?
Yeah, and that goes back into offense. You know, offense, mistrust, miscommunication, it all has to do with the fact that somebody in that relationship or in that moment does not want to actually find out the truth. That is
Mm.
sometimes what it boils down to because then it falls on them that they were the ones that literally were in the wrong and it wasn't even the other person. So if they are forced to talk about it and communicate about it, it can come back on them. And a lot of people who are used to being, what is the right word? The woe is me person.
The victim.
Yeah, the victim. They have a really hard time wanting to actually have a good, safe relationship with someone else. Because if
You know
it
what?
doesn't go their way, it's done.
You are 1,000,000,000% right. This is why you're great, great at what you do. Like that is so true. And in those situations, some people are afraid to admit things to themselves, and then they perceive, oh, it's a trust thing. I can't trust them. I can't trust them. It's really on them.
And there's a big difference between the word trust, the word victim, the word offense. I mean, so many people in this day and age put them all together and kind of make them one major word,
Mm.
and they're not. They are as different as black and white.
Offense. Let's go there.
Okay?
How do you define?
How do I find offense?
Yeah, how do you define that?
To me, offense is hearing and perceiving something that was never really said because of your mindset. That's what offense is to me. Um, it is if you're not in the right state of mind and you're not in a good place in your life, somebody could say to you, I'm really sorry tomorrow we're not going to be able to go out because someone's coming into town and I haven't seen them for 2 years, so I really would like to spend a couple hours with them because they're flying in and they're taking the time for me. Okay, not everybody's going to take that as a good thing. Instantly offense can come like, well, wait a minute, we already had this plan. No, this is my time with you. We already had this planned. I can't, and they just either walk away or they ghost you.
Are you reading my mind? What is going on here? Because the situation I was describing before, that's how that ended.
Oh, really?
Exact same situation. It was a little rocky because of miscommunication of something previously, but there was loose plans made to get together, us to get together. And then I had a friend that was celebrating a birthday, and then there was also a bunch of guys that I haven't seen in a long time. We never hang out. I never do that ever in this relationship of a couple of years. And I just said, no, I actually have plans. We were going to do something on a Friday. It wasn't 100%. And I said, no, I actually have plans. It's so and so's birthday. And these guys are also hanging out, coincidence together. That was the 4%, one of the 4% where I focused on me. And that was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Exactly what you said. And the perception, well, I can't trust you. No, you can. It just
Yeah.
some
And if they would have just asked and just really heard you and listened to you, it would have probably turned out totally different. But because of how they are choosing, this is a lot of it though,
Mm,
because they're choosing that this is how their mentality is. They don't need to change. This is their
yep.
character. Either you accept it or don't accept it. A lot of people like that don't have a lot of long-term friends or a lot of real true friends unless they are practicing offense with other friends that will just go along with everything.
And to your point, this person has really two friends.
Yep. And
Yep.
but that's
And
that's a lot of it.
I'm the entertainment. It's
Yeah.
I bring my friends, and even in that birthday situation, without asking any questions, you know, she was just angry, offended, and I later said, uh, and she knows the birthday people, the person and some of the friends, and said, but you don't understand. She was hanging with all of her other friends. I don't even know them. And she said, why can't I just go anyway? Why couldn't I have just gone anyway? I said, because you don't know them and you would, I'm with the guys. Like, what are you going to do? I'm looking out for you. You come on down. We're leaving. You're going to be hanging out with her friends. You don't know them. So I was trying to, I don't want to say protect, but make it the right situation.
Yep.
She didn't see it that way. Didn't see it that way.
Well, you can break down the words. What does the word trust mean?
Yeah, we should go there, shouldn't we?
Trust is something that you build with somebody that you know that no matter what may happen in that relationship, you can always talk about it and work it out in some form. What is offense? Offense is when somebody doesn't match what your opinion is. Okay? It's not what you think the situation should be, so therefore it's wrong. The other person is always the bad, wrong person.
Hmm.
So there's when you break down the words, a lot of people get offense and trust totally miscrewed. Like they are not the same word. They're not even the same action. The action that needs to bring those into fruition, they're not even the same action.
I just learned from you here that with the word trust, and now I'm going to bring it to myself. And this is just as examples. It's not about me, but in this, it's being able to trust that you can communicate in a situation with somebody.
Yep.
I did not have that in this relationship. There were many times I wanted to talk about things, and the other person would go off. Oh, it's my fault. So I almost just lean back on all of that. And I'm a communicator. I love to talk. I'm not a typical guy. I'm like I let look at emotions, figure it all out. I didn't here because I couldn't trust that they would understand and want to talk about things, and we'd move past it. So thank you for that. I just wrote that
E-
down.
even the word victim. So we've done trust, offense, and victim. What is the true meaning of a victim? It is somebody that truly has been um
Wronged
wrong. Yeah,
in
that
some way.
something literally did happen to them and it was not right. So
Mm,
the pretend victim is always going to bring all these words together because that's how they're choosing to think and to work and how want they like to be the center of attention. A lot of people who don't trust, who take offense, and who play the victim, it really can be a hard relationship to work on and to get better with because they're the right person. They're
mm.
always the right person because that's what they think until they can talk to somebody and start breaking down that pattern of why they're thinking that.
When you say right person, do you mean they're always right?
They're not always right. About maybe 70% of the time they're wrong, but they like in their mind, they're right
Mm.
because that's how they feel. I mean, our feelings are valid, but are they always the right feelings to have? No. And that's another whole topic, feelings.
Oh,
I mean, feelings comes into trust, it comes into offense, it comes into being a victim. And like I always say, you know what? Your feelings are valid because that's what you're feeling. But should you really be feeling that way? I mean, does the action really perceive to how you're feeling right now? Is that really the way you should be feeling? or is there something else going on? Because there's usually something else going on when there's any of these issues.
Is it ever okay or productive to be the victim or to embrace that position at any time?
I have been a victim of a sexual assault. I was younger. I didn't know how to handle it. Um, it did affect me in a lot of areas in my life. When I was finally able to talk about it, a friend finally said, "You need to tell your mom, you need to talk about this." When I was in my 30s, I was able to look at that person, that man,
Mm,
and I was able to forgive him. So you can be a victim, but you can choose to take that situation and you can make it a story that could really help a lot of other victims through what they're going through.
totally.
And that's another thing we talked about on forgiveness one time. I didn't think I would ever be able to look him in the eye and tell him that I forgave him. But when God opened up the opportunity for me to do that and I did it, my health changed. So much of my
Wow.
body changed when I decided I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to have this hate. I don't want to be afraid that this is going to happen again. I need to figure this out. And so yeah, being there are you can be a victim, but you can take that and literally go out in the world and just start sharing with people and slowly working through it to where it could be an amazing
Mm.
an amazing situation actually.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, and thank you for sharing it. And I agree with you. Like our stories help others. Is it when you are a true victim, not just you're wallowing something, and you want your friends to just, so tell you what you want to hear. Is it better to be a victim than to just minimize it and make it go away? But you can't stay, and I'm thinking out of mind here, but you can't stay in the victim mode forever or for a long time. So that was you. You were there, but you rose out of the victim mode by using forgiveness, which is a whole other podcast. It's huge.
Yeah.
And we don't condone what somebody did. This is for
Oh,
you to
yes.
heal. Just
No,
saying.
I mean, that was a big deal for me. I
Of
mean, it was
course.
huge for me.
Of course.
But the whole thing is that, like I shared when we started these podcasts, I am such a personable person. When I share my stories, it's usually with individuals or that type of thing, or like if I get asked to speak somewhere. But coming on here and just really pouring out so that people understand why I've learned to live beautifully broken. I Victim is something that you choose to always be, or you can be victimized. I was victimized, but I'm no longer a victim.
Okay.
I was willing to work through that,
Hmm.
and it took time. I mean, it really did. It was like once I told my mom and some other people that she had me talk to, it was just like I don't it was like a huge release. So a lot of victims either don't share anything or they share it way too much to the wrong people,
Mm,
wanting to continue to get that, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, you poor, and not wanting to say, well, how can I use this to teach other people and help other people how to get out of it? So I'm no longer a victim, but I was victimized. And now it's part of what I do because that's what I chose. And
and that
it's,
that is you truly were victimized, hands down. If you're in a situation where somebody cheated on you, let's say marriage or something in that
been there.
arena, are, are you have you been victimized in that situation? Like, I don't even know that I yes, the word fits. Does it fit other situations? Just wondering.
That's a really good question. And
It's a
a lot
tough
of
one. It's a tough
people
one, right? Yeah.
may not like my answer
Okay.
because sometimes people live and survive on being victims. And they're okay with going into situations where, I'm going to be the better person. I'm going to meet everyone's needs. But but they might do this to me or they might do that to me. And they literally are drawn to people who continue building on them being the victim. So there is a character in that where that's how they get up and go, is being a victim over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
But then when you're not surrounded by true friendships to really just talk with you, why do you do this? Why do you want to do this? There again, conversation. That's why we all truly have to find those friendships that are going to tell us when we're wrong, but then we have to be willing to say, oh, okay, yeah. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, or that's how you perceive that, or that's what I allowed to happen. Because we can allow that to happen also.
Finding the right people is a challenge. That's where you come in, because yes, not every friend is going to be the right person, and they could be the closest friends in any relationship. But a lot of them are going to tell you what you want to hear. It's not going to move you forward. And I totally get what you're saying, that some people, that's the fuel in their tank, being a victim. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying It's the same thing with sometimes when you have something to do, let's say public speak or do something that have anxiety. Well, that's your fuel too. When you have too much anxiety, that can get in the way of that. So sometimes it's okay to have that fuel in the tank, but it's gotta stay in check. Can't be. It's like when you put gas in your car and the tank, the nozzle didn't shut off and it's flowing out. There's just too much. It's too much.
And a lot of times it's that person who feels that way. They may have been in a home that's all they saw too. So they may not literally. I mean, this is another whole topic that we could do, but this is literally something that they don't know any better.
I totally agree with you.
That's what they're attracted to, because that's what they know.
And the person I was referring to, it was always it's my fault.
Yeah.
And I wonder where that came from, because I don't see it, the family looks great. What do we know? We don't know. It's could come from a childhood. You could be 7 years old and experience something. Wow. I didn't think we'd be able to talk about trust again. We did, and probably could keep going. Dawn, what's the best way to find you?
My website is livingbb.org. My email is donrenee@livingbb.org, and my phone number is 952-200-1103.
Always wonderful talking with you. I learned so much. We learned so much. I learned a lot today, and I'm not just saying that. I really mean that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. Appreciate you, and we'll get together next time, okay?
Sounds good. Have a blessed week.
You too. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.